They say the table doesn't lie. This is a word that's always stuck with me. In a quest for answering the question about how good a team is, there are two things that you really have to look at. The first thing is the result sustainable, right? And the other thing is what is the quality of the bench? Coming into the season, these are pertinent questions that Mikel Arteta needed to answer, right? He needed to ask himself, the way I played last season, was it sustainable? The way we ran, the pressing of Gabriel Jesus, the wing play of Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, producing their very best season in their entire career, especially the way we did it. The magnificence of Thomas Partey at the base of the midfield. Make no mistake, Thomas was absolutely incredible. He was one of the best midfielders in Europe last season. His ability on the ball got us to where we got to last season. But Mikel went to this summer having not won the Premier League title. We're top of the Premier League, what, 90% of the league? The highest since the inception of the Premier League more than 30 years ago. He probably sat down with his coaches and the management team and said, I want to keep the key values that got me to this point, but I want to augment this with something else, right? I want to change some things. I want to tweak some things. Now, coming into this season, it seems whatever Mikel has tweaked, whatever Mikel has adjusted, whatever he has marinated, whatever he has decided to cook up, as we all use right now, he's going to cook. Let Mikel cook, right? It seems it's not beautiful on the eye, right? It doesn't look as exciting. It doesn't get you off of your feet. But it's a results business, right? We are 1 point behind the juggernaut, the greatest team, probably, in my opinion, the greatest team Premier League has ever seen in Manchester City. We're 1 point behind because Chelsea did us a huge favor. I wanted to, because I watched Arsenal Chelsea, and I don't think any team has played us the way Chelsea played against us this season. The running, the athleticism Chelsea possess. Right, this is a team that has what, a 40-year-old centre back in the middle of the defense, but they run. It's almost the players are specifically targeted to be athletic. Malagusto to their left back, to their centre back, to the midfield of Caicedo, Enzo, and Gallagher. That Gallagher guy is just it's something else. But they ran out of steam after 70 minutes. We go into the game because of our individual quality and because the coach decided not to stop trying to dominate the ball through the midfield. Right, what Mikel did was he brought on Kai Havertz, and what did we do? We went long, right? And after we went long, we fought for the second balls, and we go back into the game, and we got a draw. And Chelsea did the same thing again to Man City today. As good as Man City's midfield is, probably the best in the land, they couldn't cope. They couldn't cope. Gallagher looks head and shoulders the best midfielder on the pitch. The runs, the athleticism was just incredible. But that's, by the way, we're here to talk about Arsenal, and we're here to review our season and say, okay, what have we done wrong? What have we done right? What it is. I'm trying to get into the mind of Mikel Arteta. What is the vision? What is the plan here? Let's share the slides. So the first thing I want to talk about is the tactical evolution. We have, whether we like it or not, we have undergone a shift, a radical shift in how we approach the game, right? Beginning of last season, the first probably 15 games, the way we play is what Zinchenko talks into the midfield, right? Then you have Gabriel Saliba playing almost like a two with probably White advanced, and we just go direct, right? Xhaka is so far ahead, playing almost like an auxiliary attacker, and Zinchenko just finds Xhaka, and Partey finds Odegaard. That's how we play. So we play a block of two in midfield. Sorry, a block of two in the defense with that's Saliba and Gabriel. Zinchenko and Partey another block. Xhaka and Odegaard another block, right? Then we have Martinelli, Saka, and Gabriel Jesus as a forward. And sometimes Gabriel Jesus drops into the midfield, right, to connect with Odegaard, Zinchenko, and Granit Xhaka. So that's how you see Saka and Martinelli making that inverted run to score a lot of goals. But what that does is when the attack breaks down, we are exposed, right? What it means is that our two centre backs need to do an enormous amount of work, right? But this season it's different, right? We started off kind of rough because Mikel was trying to play party inverted, and the confusion led us to conceding some goals that we shouldn't have. But when you watch how this season has evolved, right? What Mikel has done, the tweaks is made. What we do now is we have Saliba in the middle of Gabriel and Benjamin White, like a back three. And they just dominate the ball, right? They don't take any risk. If I would even say the person who takes the riskiest passes is probably Gabriel. Saliba doesn't take too much risk. He takes the ball, he rotates, it moves, rotate until we have an opening, then we go, right? We try to stifle the ability for opposition to get clear cut opportunities against us, especially during the beginning of a game, right? We want to reduce. We had some terrible records. As good as we are, we're a team that we're looking at a point that we're going to make 100 points as a last season. But we considered, I think, three times within the season, a goal in the first 2, 3 minutes of a game. It was just disgusting. You're giving yourself extra work. It's extra demanding physically. It shows a lack of focus in key moments. And Mikel has gone in and worked and worked and worked on that. We should be probably be unbeaten right now in the league. We're not the most exciting of teams, but we are controlled, right? Controlled possession, aggressive in key areas, dominating the ball, dominating the midfield, winning key battles away from our box, right? So we dominate the ball, then we progress in blocks. Instead of what we used to do is Zinchenko gets on the ball and slides the ball through the midfield. Partey gets on the ball and slides the ball through the midfield. Most of the time, it's going to come off, right? But when it doesn't come off, what happens is you have five of the opposition players running against three of our players. It's demanding on the legs, and it's going to tell when we get to February, March, April, which is when leagues are won, which is when the big prizes are won. So we're trying to save something in the tank, save something in the legs. It's not in the head, actually, it's in the legs, right? How much can you go when you need to go? So that's what I think of that. Now let's move on to the next slide. Our set piece. Our set piece taking ability is just something else. Credit to Mikel Arteta's team, especially Nicolas Jova. I think he brought Nicolas Jova from Man City uh, as our set piece coach. During my time of watching Arsenal, I don't think we've ever been this good at set pieces. In spite of the fact that sometimes I get frustrated when our players will take corners and set pieces, they don't take it so well. I feel like we occupy the right position. We have a plan. There is a set plan. Look at Saliba's goal yesterday against Burnley. There's a plan. There's Declan Rice who was standing in front of the keeper, right? Saliba makes a run from behind the defender to come in front of Declan Rice. By the time the keeper reacted, it was too late. He had the ball in. There's nothing you can do. There's no foul, no nothing. In the place of Declan Rice, typically who you see that does that is Benjamin White, right? His job is not just to score the headers. It's not to just be in the box and wait for ricochets or whatever. His job is to cause chaos, to stand in front of the goalkeeper, to prevent the goalkeeper legally, right, from getting to the ball so that our monsters, the Declan Rice, the Gabriel, the William Salibas, can get on the ball and score goals. Credit to Nicholas Jover. One of our biggest weaknesses has turned into our strengths in the last few years. And it seems that we're even going to a higher level this season. We're getting better at it. We've scored what? 35 goals in all competitions, 20 open play goals. Right? That's nothing, right? The ratio of open play goals to set pieces is incredible. It means like we're outperforming the average for most teams when it comes to scoring goals from set pieces. We've had six penalties. That's an anomaly. I don't expect that to keep going. Six penalties right now means we have a penalty every 2 games. I don't think we're gonna have 19 penalties this season. I don't think that's gonna work out. The numbers is not gonna work out in that manner. Even if we and Man City, I think we're like close when it comes. Man City are like two penalties ahead of us in the last 2 years. The point I'm trying to make is it seems the teams who hold on to the ball the most and who get into the box the most tend to get the most penalty. So we're doing great when it comes to that. So massive credit should go to Mikel and his coaching team for our set piece ability, our set piece strategies. They've gone up and up and up and up the last few years. Now let's go to our defensive resilience. I know we're all looking, oh, I'm all positive. Yeah, I'm a positive Arsenal fan. Um, I like to give constructive criticism, and I don't like to do a result based analysis, right? The analysis should be on statistics and what you actually see, right? What I actually watch is a team that is defensively resolute, right? I know we like to bash Alexander Zinchenko, but he's incredible in the air, right? He's not a very good one-on-one defender, and he tends to slip at the back post. But even some very great defenders, maybe not great, some good defenders that we know in the Premier League, Arawan Bissaka, he slips on the back post, and he's an incredible defender. Zinchenko is not a defender, right? We see Arsenal fans all around the world clamoring for Mikel Arteta to play Zinchenko in midfield. Do you want to hear it? Zinchenko already plays in midfield. Look at his average touch map. Look at his average position on the pitch. He essentially plays in midfield. That is how Mikel wants him to play. He wants him to invert to create overload. Playing Zinchenko in midfield might work, but you're taking a position out of a position that we know don't. It's not necessarily a problem position for us based on Zinchenko's skill set in that position. What I'm trying to say is Zinchenko would not score the goals that we need for that position, right? The plan would be to get either Havertz or Fabio Vieira or Emil Smith Rowe or even Declan Rice to, I think they will score more goals than Zinchenko in that position. Zinchenko doesn't possess the athleticism to do that position correctly. But that's a side note. We're talking about our defensive resilience. The team has become more defensively resolute. We concede fewer goals. We concede fewer breakage in play that leads to counter attacks. We have increased stability in our defense. We're more focused, and we love this guy. Saliba. That's an absolute gem of a player. He's knocking on the door to become a world class player if he is not already. Now, let's talk about adaptability, right? Coming into the summer, I think this was Mikel's biggest target. Let me break it down. The reason why I say that is when you look at the players we signed players who are not just specialist players, right? In the sense that, oh, I can only play this position and this is where I'm going to play, right? Mikel felt he needed more players like that in his team who can offer him adaptability and tactical flexibility. What do I mean by that? Typically, this is you've seen like Kai Havertz start off in midfield, right? Mikel wants to play him as a midfielder. And I guess the reason Mikel wants him as a midfielder It's because of his ability to press, right, and ability to run. Havertz, go to look at the stats. Havertz runs a lot, right? His on the ball ability, which is why you play for a team like Arsenal, has not shown, right? It's been poor. It's been bang average. I know that. I'm just looking at it from Mikel's mind, what the goal was, right? The goal was to get players who are very flexible, who can do play multiple position, who can give him tactical flexibility. We saw that against Manchester City, right? Cave started off coming on as a midfielder. He ended up as a striker. We played long to him multiple times. He held up the ball very well. The same thing in Community Shield. He did the same thing. It's just very sad that we don't have Urin Timber to give us that flexibility in our defense, right? When we don't have Benjamin White, for example, last weekend, we can play Urin Timber. He formed the back three. I think is probably more athletic than Benjamin White and would be a very, very incredible asset overlapping with Bukayo Saka. I think Ewan Timber is more skillful. He also gives us the ability to play centre back, left back, and it can invert. We saw it against Man City at the Community Shield. It's probably the second best player to play that inverted midfield position in the team. It's good. He's a good one-on-one defender. So when you play the tougher teams or the tougher games, you get the opportunity to play Ewan Timber, who is an excellent player, but we've been robbed of that opportunity due to injuries this season. And we talk about the man of the moment, the player who was signed for more than £100 million, who nobody talks about his price tag anymore. Tell me, nobody speaks about Declan's price tag. He has no meaning, right? I had to be convinced because I wasn't convinced. I haven't watched Declan Rice enough to say, oh, this guy is the guy, right? But I was wrong. Like, I was wrong. I felt like we're overpaying for him. I felt like we're not gonna get what we actually thought we are gonna get from him. But he's been everything and more. He's been incredible. Like you play him left eight. Yes, he's not your typical or your stereotypical attacking player in the mode of or an Ike Godogan in like a Frank Lampard. It's not that. He's gonna run for days. He's gonna win back the ball. He's gonna be defensively resolute. He's gonna carry the ball through the midfield when you need to relieve pressure. Right? He's the best ball carrier, probably the best ball carrier in Premier League. Declan Rice. Right? We have another player on our team who is an incredible ball carrier in Emil Smith Rowe. But this guy won't be fit. If you're not fit, you've barely played football for 2 years to give Mikel that adaptability, to give Mikel that flexibility to play in that position, knowing fully well that you can actually deliver the goal. Right? We needed a player who always stays fit, who is always strong, whose track record when it comes to fitness has been exemplary. That is why Mikel went this summer to get these players to become more flexible. And also, I should have mentioned David Raya. David Raya, typically now you see how we play, he forms the third centre back, right? So when we're under pressure and the ball is coming, you're always saying he leaves his line to create an outlet for Gabriel, especially, takes the ball under pressure, passes it, right? It's something that Ramsdale didn't do, or he didn't do enough for Mikel. It's little things, marginal gains here and there. At this level, at this elite level, it's just plus or minus 5 points, right? Can we make 5, 6 points more than Manchester City by the end of the season? Right? So the whole point is to gain marginally here and there and see where we get to by the end of the season. The next point is about our injuries. And this is just some of the injuries we had this season. I couldn't get a perfect note for that. We've had key injuries in weird period. Gabriel Jesus had a magnificent preseason with Leandro Trossard. Gabriel Jesus didn't start the season. He played the first 5 weeks of the season. It means like 5 or 6 games. So we had to make do with Eddie Nketiah. Came back, played 2 or 3 games magnificently, went back on injured again. To me, Gabriel Jesus is Arsenal's best player. If he's fit and firing is absolutely incredible. If there's a player who is on the precipice of being a world class player, a genuine world class player, I think it's Gabriel Jesus. The things that he has, it's hard to find. Ability to dribble on a sixpence, turn, run, tackle. If he becomes a 25 goals scoring striker, he is the perfect footballer. Dribble, turning, moving, running. Like defenders are scared. You're scared shitless when you have Gabriel Jesus on your back. He's constantly harassing you. He's strong in the tackle. He's strong one on one. He can hold up the ball. He's just an all round incredible footballer. I love him. He's not been fit, right? Because Saka has been injured probably twice this season. He's been dragged off game 2 or 3 times this season. Gabriel Martinelli had an hamstring injury that kept him out for 3 weeks this season. Thomas Partey has played only 2 games and another 15 minutes against Manchester City this season. That is probably the second best defense midfielder in the Premier League as of last season, behind Rodri. Juventus ACL, we might not see him this season. Leandro Trossard has had an hamstring twice this season. This is a lot of injuries, right? A lot. I didn't mention Martin Odegaard, who hasn't played the last 3 or 4 games. A lot of injuries, and we keep having to change, drop momentum. It's testament to the coaching team, a testament to the players who have carried us through this phase, right? So it's just been sad. It's been sad that we've not been able to have our key players in key positions throughout the season. And lastly, what's next, right? What are our expectations after this interlull, after this international break comes to an end? What is the expectation, right? First and foremost, get back our players, right? Fingers crossed, players like Saka, Martinelli, we're going to be going for the international break. Declan Rice come back fit, right? And the ones who have been injury ridden throughout the season, Gabriel Jesus, for example, Martin Odegaard again was suffered a hip injury. Hip injuries are nasty anyway. I don't know how bad it is. They've been managing it. Typically, you get surgery for those, but I don't think Arsenal wants to get a surgery, or else they would have quickly done it. We need Martin Odegaard fit, one of the best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. We haven't seen the best of him this season, and he's been carrying something. So you're talking about 2 players who are like part of the spine of our team, our captain, probably the best midfielder on the team, and our best attacking player out of the team for a while. So we need to get them back fit. Then once they are fit, we need to increase our chance creation because we become more fluid, right? You're talking about good players on the precipice of world class, just just going through the motions, trying to get us back to where we need to, getting us more goals, getting us more assists, scoring earlier in games, controlling the games better. And we also have to plan for the January window. What is the plan? Is Thomas Partey going to be available? What kind of injury does he have? Are we going to be able to get the very best out of some players in the team? What about Fabio Vieira? Is he going to make the cut? Smith Rowe is going to make the cut. These are the kind of questions that Mikel and Edu have to answer, and they have to. I'm sure they're already planning. That's their job. And the last thing is for us to back the manager and the team. We are 1 point behind the juggernaut, Manchester City. Right? It's not bad. I don't understand the panic. Right? We don't have to play like prime Barcelona to win this Premier League title. We just have to do our job. And we're doing that right now. Manage until key players come back and kick on. It's as simple as that. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for having me. It's been a marvelous weekend of football. Don't forget to like the content, subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Goodbye. Stay blessed.